I'm Queens Assemblyman David Weprin.
And I'm joined here by David Schwartz, a former assistant DA in Brooklyn and a representative of a coalition called NYSAIF. I'm pleased here to announce that we're going to be making a major push over the next couple of weeks in the legislative session, which is scheduled to end on or about June 20th, to make Alice's bill Alice's law. Alice Ross was a 71-year-old constituent of mine, a mother, a grandmother, a small business owner who died 10 years ago in 1993, in 2003, as a result of a staged automobile accident where Alice Ross, in order to avoid the staged accident, crashed into a tree and was killed in Belrose, Queens. I was surprised to find out that under New York State law, it is not a felony or even a misdemeanor to stage a phony automobile accident. In the case of Alice Ross, it resulted in the loss of her life. Clearly, there's been hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of insurance premiums that have been paid by unsuspecting consumers because of insurance fraud as a result of staged automobile accidents. Last year, we were very close to making Alice's bill Alice's law. As a matter of fact, one version of the bill passed unanimously in my House in the State Assembly. Another version, sponsored by Senator Seward from upstate New York, the chair of the Insurance Committee in the Senate, passed unanimously in the State Senate. We were unable to reconcile the two bills. We're optimistic that we're going to make a push over the next couple of weeks to reconcile these two bills and finally, under New York State law, make it a separate crime, a separate felony to stage an automobile accident, a phony automobile accident. Clearly, this bill, once it becomes law, Alice's law, will give prosecutors the necessary tools to prosecute individuals such as the unscrupulous individuals that resulted in the loss of Alice Ross's life. Not to mention, will help prevent insurance fraud and help lower insurance premiums for thousands and thousands of consumers in New York State. So it's now finally the time to make Alice's bill Alice's law and create a separate felony for staging an automobile accident. Many people are in automobile accidents all the time, fender benders, not knowing that it's a phony accident, that's a staged accident, and very often unscrupulous individuals file under the no-fault insurance law for up to $50,000 for fake injuries. But even more than that, people are in these accidents and they don't know they're a staged accident. So this bill, once it becomes Alice's law, will give prosecutors the tools to prosecute, as well as may serve as a deterrent to insurance fraud. So we're optimistic. I'm now going to turn it over to David Schwartz from NYSAIF, as well as a former assistant DA in Brooklyn.
Thank you, David. Yes, I'm David Schwartz, and I represent New Yorkers Stand Against Insurance Fraud. And first off, I want to thank Assemblyman Weprin, who has just been such a champion on this bill and a champion on protecting New Yorkers against criminal enterprises who use their cars as weapons. We need to really simplify this. There are people out there using their cars as weapons, the same way you would use a gun, you use a knife, they're using their car as a weapon. We have 400,000 no-fault cases filed every single year. 20% of those cases have some sort of element of fraud in them. That's 80,000 fraudulent cases every year. And you could easy to extrapolate that there are thousands of people staging car accidents every year in the city of New York. That is unconscionable. And the fact that we're standing here 10 years later, we need to get this legislation, and we need it now. Last year we came very close, as close as we've ever come to passing this legislation. Unfortunately, there were two different versions in each house, and we're hopeful, and we pray that both houses can come together and pass the same legislation, so Governor Cuomo can sign that legislation, and finally we could create a felony category for staging a car accident with the intent of committing insurance fraud. This cannot go on. This is an epidemic. New Yorkers are paying hundreds of millions of dollars due to a fraud tax. You are paying a fraud tax every year. And what Alice's law does, it'll take a dent. It's not the only bill that needs to pass, but it's a great, great start to stopping the fraud tax, to protecting New Yorkers, and to stopping people from using their cars as a weapon. And we, again, from NYSAIF, we thank Assemblyman Weprin for standing up on this issue and standing up for all New Yorkers. Thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you, David. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Well, what often happens are there are these gangs that are routinely staging these phony accidents with the intention to commit insurance fraud. However, people are in these accidents and they don't even realize it. So basically, this will give prosecutors the tools for those unscrupulous individuals, and in many cases, gangs of individuals, rings of individuals, who are staging these phony automobile accidents in order to collect up to $50,000 per accident, and many times it's more than one accident in one day under the no-fault insurance statute in New York State. So we're hoping that this will be a deterrent, as well as give the prosecutors a tool as a separate felony for staging an automobile accident with the intent to commit insurance fraud.
Can I? Oh.
Again, there are two participants here. So the person that's getting hurt is probably...
Well,
Yeah.
often, very often that is the case, but there are also innocent bystanders like Alice Ross. Alice Ross was an innocent bystander who unfortunately lost her life. She was a mother, a grandmother, a small business owner in Belrose, Queens. So there are many, many innocent victims who are just happen to, be involved in the accident. But in many cases, you're correct that there are more than one individual, and they would all be able to be prosecuted under this new felony that we hope to call Alice's Law.
And the other thing is, from the consumer standpoint, if this law passes, how is the consumer assured that they're going to see some sort of rate reduction?
Well, we're hoping that insurance companies will save millions of dollars as a result of this new law, and then hopefully they'll pass that on to consumers by reduced insurance premiums.
We're talking insurance companies.
Well, there's no mandate, but our main point here is to prosecute those unscrupulous individuals that are committing this insurance fraud, resulting in many unsuspecting individuals getting hurt, and in the case of Alice Ross, losing her life.
If I could just jump in for 1 second, I think certainly we'll stabilize insurance rates. We'll stabilize them by passing this bill. That's number one. And to answer the other question, these are criminal enterprises that we're dealing with. So it's true. At the beginning, we have the staged accident, but it goes down the line, and it's $50,000 per claim. So if you have 4 people in the car, that could be a $200,000 claim. But we need to get rid of medical mills. We need to get rid of fraudulent attorneys. These are all part of this elaborate scheme to defraud the system. You see how easy it is. And you're right, when we have crimes of mayhem, and this really is, it's a crime of mayhem, you'll have innocent bystanders like Alice Ross, but you're also going to have co-conspirators, criminal enterprises that we have to take off the streets and put them behind bars. And that's why we need Alice's Law.